that was anxious to find their way back to winning, and they do just that. Andy Dalton, 20-27, 233 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns. Let's get more on this particular game with our Bengals ESPN NFL Nation reporter Coley Harvey. So they lost 2 straight, really the stinker against the Texans. They hung in there, but eventually lost to the Cardinals on Monday night as well. So the Bengals needed this one. What are the players saying about getting back on track today?
Well, you know, Jay, they're essentially obviously very excited about getting back on track. But the key thing to take away is a conversation that I had with George Iloka, the safety, who actually had an interception in the game. I caught up with him in the locker room, and he said, you know, there hasn't been any tightness. There hasn't been any unease, anything along those lines in the locker room the last 2 weeks. The players, to what he said, is that they've still been the same focus, trying to, you know, go about their business the same way that they were through those first 8 games when obviously they went undefeated. To that point, though, I also talked to Jeremy Hill, the running back, who said that maybe they did lose some focus during those 2 weeks. I asked Jeremy to kind of clarify some of that, and he said, you know, it almost seemed as if maybe we were reading the social media, we were paying attention to the headlines, maybe a little too much at the end of that 8-0 run, and maybe that kind of came back to bite the Bengals. That might have been the case then, but the case now is that they are back on track. They did get this win, and to a man, you hear Bengals players saying that they feel like the focus is back, particularly with the way that they went out and dominated today, a 31-7 win.
Tyler Eifert has been such a crucial part of this offense throughout the course of the season. 3 catches, 40 receiving yards, and a touchdown today. 12th touchdown catch of the season, tied for second most in Bengals history. But he did leave the game with a stinger. So what's the latest on his health, Coley?
Yeah, I talked with Tyler after the game in the locker room, and he said, you know, he says he's obviously still feeling the effects of that. They took him out primarily because they wanted to make sure that he could pass certain tests as far as range of motion and those kinds of things with his arm. Of course, the game at the time, the Bengals actually were up 24-7 when he first got hurt, and then right away they actually ended up intercepting a pass for a touchdown to take a 31-7 lead. And it was at that point that he essentially said the doctors didn't even really have to do those tests because they pretty much assumed that he was going to be done for the game. But Eifert did tell me that he does feel fine. He thinks that he's going to be okay for next week's game. Obviously, he still has some protocols, some tests to go through as far as that stinger is concerned. But for now, it's looking like signs are pointing to him playing next week at Cleveland.
All right, that is good news for Andy Dalton as the Bengals get back to their winning ways, handing the Rams their 4th straight loss. Coley Harvey with the very latest for us this evening.